Hello, everyone. Welcome to How-Tos for Holiday Marketing in Times of Inflation. I am Dawn Paul, your Content Marketing Manager for Ad Taxi. And let me introduce our presenters for today. We have, or like we like to call them, our digital rock stars, right? Yael, she's Senior Director of Strategic Accounts and E-commerce for Ad Taxi. And we have Murray, Director of Research with Ad Taxi, and Brent, VP of Marketing with OnRamp. And what we're going to be talking through today, our agenda, we're going to be talking about current trends in retail, optimizing your holiday marketing budget, holiday marketing media mix, reaching your current customers. We're talking about new customer acquisition, harvest and reward existing customers, do's and don'ts of holiday marketing, and holiday marketing goals. So we're gonna let Murray kick this off.
Dawn, I thank you so much, and Yael, thank you for having me join me. Brent, how we doing? We're going to talk about what's going on with consumers coming out of the pandemic, now 2 years later, and heading into the holiday season. So, Dawn, as we move ahead to the next slide, what I want to talk about is what consumers are doing now in their shopping process. What we see during times of inflation are very similar to what we saw during the pandemic, although they were spurred by different reasons, one in economic, one by health-related concerns. But what we see is when consumers start tightening their grip on their wallet or purses, right? They start shopping for things they need and not things they want. And we've noticed a slight downtick in jewelry retail and trade this year. We see that they're starting to look for more sales, and they'll try different brands. You'll see a rise during times of inflation in the purchase of private label brands. We see a huge increase for all shoppers when it comes specifically to price item shopping, that price comparison. That goes through the roof in times of economic uncertainty. We're seeing a lot of that in the last recession. We've seen a lot of it, again, it wasn't a recession, but during the pandemic, and we see what's going on today. It's definitely occurring with greater frequency, and it's playing a greater part in the day-to-day shopping. We see down trading and scaling back, and I'm going to talk about those perhaps on the next slide or two, and then buying in bulk, which is why places like Costco and Walmart, while fall into the discount category, always do well. It's because they do talk to those bulk buying customers, and during times of inflation, there are more and more of them. All right, so going back, right, no, go back one. All right, so I'm telling you that your audience is online, right? Today, right now, over 80% of us are shopping online, and you couldn't have said that, yes, prior to the pandemic. Right, we see what happens after or during a recession, or we see what happens in times like right now. And for instance, while the pandemic just rocked us all, right? We had up to 50% declines in retail and trade for individual months, March, April. What was interesting was that at the end of the year, when all was said and done, retail was up almost a full percent. What changes during times of inflation is that what people buy, like I said, they'll try new brands and what, but also how. And to follow up on my point about being retail sales being up 0.7% during the pandemic year, e-commerce was up 35. Again, your audience is online. There was a report from Forbes during the 2008 recession. And they showed what happened regarding ad spend. Yes, when sales goes down, ad spend goes down because ad sales is a percent of sales. Well, while, according to Forbes, during the recession, a total of ad spend went down 13%, digital fell less than 2%. What does this mean? This means that digital occupied, at the end of the year, 72% of all local ad dollars. It grew its share to 72%. Your audience is online. Reuters told us at the end of the 2008-2009 recession, recession, that Americans flocked to the internet. Yes, they were looking for economic news. Yes, they were looking for jobs, but leading the pack, price item shopping. And I'm telling you, they're doing it right now because the holiday season has already started, right? Now, what we also know is that if the US enters a recession, 42% of all adults, and this is according to an ad taxi survey performed just in the last the last 3 months, the last quarter, 42% of us, 42% of US online adults said they're going to rely more and more on online price comparisons. 39%, 4 in 10, said they're going to rely on the internet more for online shopping. 33% said they're going to search more for those online sales, and posting double digits were usage of mobile phones, streaming, online reviews. So I'm not telling you not to cut your budget. I'm telling you to be very careful how you surgically go about doing that. And again, I've talked about how consumers are shopping online, and we know if a recession hits, it's only going to grow. It's only going to pole vault again. And e-commerce is going to continue to grow its share of overall retail and trade. All right, so moving forward, what's coming? What's about to happen? Let's go to the next slide. In Q4, we're going to see slowed growth. Why? Because interest rates are going up. Now, people buying earlier is putting some ease on constrictions due to supply chains, and that will ease going into the end of the year and moving forward. Regarding, so again, consumers will spend more this year, 4 to 6% more. That's the average of 4 or 5 different forecasts I've pulled together from industry experts. Again, media is going to post only a modest gain of about 3%. That's traditional. Digital is going to grow 18% when all is said and done at the end of the year. Why? Because that's where our consumers are flocking. In 2023, we will see likely a recession. Experts are calling right now for it to be light to moderate. Okay, no one can tell you exactly when it will hit. On average, it looks like anywhere from 3 to 6 months from now. But we know consumers, again, they can spend as much inside a recessionary year as they spend outside of one. Question is, how? How are they going to spend this, and what are they going to buy? I'm going to touch on that in just a second. But because they're flooding to the internet, right, what we know, traditional media will be down almost 3% in 2023. Digital will be up 14%. Digital will grow its share of ad spend in the local market to 75%. Again, in large part because over 80% of us are shopping online now anyway, in large part because we're not shopping once a month, we're shopping weekly. And those who are shopping weekly are now shopping daily, right? And because the internet ranks #1 when it comes to price item and price comparison shopping, followed closely only by newspaper. Right? So if you're looking for 2 mediums to drive your price item, activity, I think I just gave you the answer. All right, so going into 2023, planned shopping is going to rise, right? It's not browsing, it's more hunting, right? You're going to see more online search, more reading of online reviews. That price comparison is going to dominate shopping, and it's all going to be online. Increases will be seen in streaming TV, in banner ads, in mobile usage, right? So that's what things look like right now. That's where your customers are going, and that's how your competitors or advertisers in general plan to reach these people. Who's up?
Thank you so much, Maureen. This is a wonderful overview of the lay of the land for our listeners, and thank you everyone if you're still listening. It's the time of the year when most of our advertisers and business owners thinking how should they optimize their marketing budget and strategy. We have a whole presentation around the do's and the don'ts, so we appreciate you being with us. We'll go over how you should be setting your budget, what you should be thinking about this holiday season. We have our friend Brand from OnRamp that will talk us through small business funding, very interesting opportunities for our e-commerce business owners. And then we'll kind of finish up with all the strategy to increase your return on ad spend, and at the end, return on investment as well. So moving into the next slide, the first thing that we would like to talk about, or our first advice, will be understanding profit margin and costs. If you haven't done so, open your books, and it is really crucial this year to know and understand how profit varies by products that you have in your e-commerce or in your retail store. Once you do that, try to cut your COGS, your cost of goods / services, not your marketing budget, as more referred to. That will be driving new revenue and recurring revenue that you currently have in your business. Here are a couple examples around cutting your cost of goods. So number one, if you have many SKUs for the holiday season, you can consider cutting the number of products you offer just to maintain profitability. And obviously, when you do that, make sure you don't cut off anything that has high profit margins for you. The number two that we will like you to consider is, can you create a self-service that is currently requires an employee? You know, you're already seeing that across the rainbow. When you go to the airport, you have the kiosks. When you go to a restaurant, you have, again, kiosks that you can order. Those type of actions are taken by businesses around you to cut costs and increase margins. You should be thinking about that yourself. Number two is automation, and that kind of flows what we've talked about just a minute ago, but more around the user experience on your website. So using automation to increase positive user experience is key, right? Not only staying top of mind, but also making sure that you are increasing your brand loyalty is important. This could be in the form of email, SMS, any other plugin, or a combination of both. And then another thing that we have seen much success with when advertising for our e-commerce owners is using an automation when it comes to customer service. One of the plugins we've seen used a lot is Gorgeous. Just automate questions and issues that arise during Q4 to make sure that people get their answers really quick, and you don't actually need an employee that will sit and answer questions that arise often. Number three will be product segmentation, which is really, really important. Every holiday season we talk about it in Ad Taxi, but this holiday season is even more important to understand the relationship between margin and your product mix. And so look at what is most profitable when it comes to products, and make sure you match between your best sellers and your best profit margin makers. Push them out as far as part of your email marketing, paid marketing. If you have billboards on the highway, make sure that your product mix is pushing right now products that have high profit margin and is historically been a best seller for you. Now, if you like to be a little bit more sophisticated and you have a current feed that you are using with your paid marketing, such as Google, Facebook, programmatic, make sure you have labels around profit margin and that you are bid adjusting towards those to be shown during discovery with products that drive most of your revenue. Now, going deeper into the product mix and talking about what to sell and what not to sell, our strongest recommendation will be hyper targeted to your best audience with your best sellers. While it is a great time for customer acquisition, if you currently have an existing book of business, a first-party data, now is the time to harvest what you worked for this entire year, and make sure that you are super targeted. Going after your best audience, and those are the two things you should be doing. A, showing products that your audience is currently looking for, and B, showing products that solve a problem of your best audience. Going into the second thing, which is small business funding, I'm gonna have Brent take us away to all the best strategies we should be thinking about when thinking about funding.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Funding, it's everybody's favorite topic. Cash is always king. That will remain the same no matter what business you're on, whether you're selling brick and mortar or e-commerce. But the ultimate goal here is reducing financial risk while trying to grow your business. So you need cash to expand inventory, to invest in marketing, to accelerate a host of other growth activities. But usually you're either stuck waiting for a loan invitation or you're faced with a payback scheme that could put your business in some sort of financial risk. But at OnRamp, our goal is to really ensure that you have the fuel needed to scale effectively and with like the flexibility needed to stay agile. So you can see on the slide here, I'm not going to go into too much detail about what OnRamp does, but we're essentially a revenue-based lender. The team was developed from a lot of former Shipping Easy, ShipStation, Stamps.com executives, because they found a gap that a lot of users, a lot of e-commerce sellers were in need of cash on demand. They had an opportunity to buy some marketing or to scale up inventory or to tackle shipping costs, and they did not have the cash on hand because they were too busy paying back, huge interest loans that they took out for money that they actually didn't really even need at the time. So what we aim to do, and there's a couple revenue-based lenders out there. It's not necessarily the most novel practice that we're in, but what we really want to do is focus on the e-commerce seller and provide the best possible option that they have available. Essentially what you do is you take your e-com store, whether it's a Shopify or Amazon, you plug it into our web app, and then our web app is basically an underwriting mechanism that says, okay, based on your sales and inventory and turnover, we can provide you with this level of cash advance at this remittance rate with a fee that's usually around 1%. Sometimes it's less than 1%, sometimes it's a little bit more. But with e-commerce sellers or just selling during the holiday, and everybody is gearing up towards Q4 because most businesses will do 60% of their sales online in Q4 alone. So it's hugely important to really maximize these 3 months, especially the time between Black Friday and Christmas. You have a lot of options. So there's no shortage of people that are trying to give you money. Usually it comes at a term that's best suited for the lender, not best suited for the seller. So what we have at OnRamp is, we've assessed what credit cards offer, we've assessed what bank loans offer, and we've assessed what a lot of non-traditional lending firms offer, and we try to say, okay, from an e-com selling perspective, and I'm an e-com owner, our CEO is an e-com owner, we have a variety of other execs on the OnRamp team. We all manage our own stores, so we'll all either borrow from OnRamp or borrow from, we'll take family money. We'll do a variety of different things like credit cards and bank loans. But at the end of the day, if I know that I'm going to be selling and I need a nice boost with on-demand cash to help me get over that hump or help me, just to get a nice little cash infusion, what you want to do is you want to work with a flexible partner that's going to give you the lowest terms rates and also is going to provide you with more than just money. So, we love partnering with AdTaxi because that fits our model, which is it's not just about the money, it's about the advertising, it's about the inventory, it's about the shipping, it's about the knowledge and know-how of an e-com seller and working with a partner that can help, we can not only lend you money, but we can also help you deploy that cash so that you're effectively spending it and driving down your cash conversion cycle. So many businesses so many small businesses go out of business because of financial literacy. They don't understand that having an accounts payable that is overextended will cut into your cash and it will eliminate your ability to spend or take advantage of opportunities when they arise. Having a nice influx of cash on hand at all times that's at a low rate that you're being able to pay back or borrow from is crucial for success because, as we all know, you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, especially these days. Like, a couple years ago, I knew I could spend X amount of dollars on Facebook and I would drive this much, these many clicks and these many purchases. But right now, after the pandemic and the election cycles, there's so much uncertainty out in the world that you need to remain financially disciplined and you need to remain financially intelligent, meaning you understand that every dollar that you spend is going to result in X, Y, or Z. And so the team at OnRamp, again, we're e-commerce entrepreneurs. We built and sold multiple e-com stores, and we understand the importance of having a good cash partner or a good lending partner, and that's why we're in business. And that's why we love partnering with other great businesses like AdTaxi to help that customer journey.
I love it how you said discipline and intelligent, right? That's like the core pillars of a good e-commerce business in 2022.
Absolutely.
Yeah, all right. So what a great presentation, Brett. Thank you so much. This is so important for everyone who listens and owns a business in the e-commerce space. I'm going to take you folks to the price strategy for higher return on inventory or higher return on ad spend, wherever you are. So as we enter Q4 and with inflationary processes behind us, some of you are going to increase your prices. If you must increase your prices, do it gradually. Dramatic price increases across the board could be a major turnoff for existing customers. And I've been saying that for many years, acquiring a new client is way more expensive than nurturing an existing one. Feel comfortable being honest about it. Explain why you need to raise your prices. You can do it via your email list. You can do it on the website. You can use your ads to do that, but it's very, very important. And then if it is something, a bit of a big price gap that you need to do for your business, make sure you kind of look and see where it is less noticeable. Obviously, you don't want to be fishy about it. You don't want to hide it because it is what it is, but just make sure that it is less noticeable for folks that tend to visit your website on a recurrent basis. So the question is, can you increase your prices and maintain your brand loyalty? And we at AdTaxi think that you can. A lot of successful businesses we deal with do that. So while you are increasing prices, reward your clients. Reward your existing clients, having a reward loyalty. Some of the examples you should be using is points, amount of purchases, gifts that folks will get if they are a recurring client. Make sure you kind of putting your award program out there, noticeable on all channels. It is key in Q4 to be noticeable and staying on top of it. While you do that with existing clients, your prospects should be enjoying some discounts and bundles. We're big on bundles here. We like them because it increases your average order value, creates that good, healthy profit margin cushion to afford more and more customer acquisition. If you can do bundles, buy one, get one is a good one too. Make sure that buy one is that profitable product you already know that has a good cushion, and the get one is products maybe you're trying to get rid of that you have an excess of stock of. And then another thing that is very important to notice is you do want to offer exclusive deals to first-party subscribers. So anyone who visits the site and did not purchase, but if you did get an email from them, you can then nurture them and harvest those clients during Q1, a very important season. Going into the next slide, let's talk a little bit about your media mix. So, how should you be spending your media budget, your marketing budget in Q4? A couple of things to consider, and we'll talk about it thoroughly. So while considering media mix, you should be talking to your marketing director, or if you're doing your media buying yourself, understand what each platform has for targeting. Just like I said, now is the time to be niching down. Not every platform is equal, so targeting will be key differentiator between the different platforms, whether it's Google, Pinterest, Facebook, programmatic channel. Attribution is also very important. Many times what we see is with the shorter attribution model, folks don't see those sales come in via the platform. They decide to cut off one or two platforms for their media mix, and then what they do is experience a very a large loss of revenue. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean that it's there. So attribution is important. The most important part in attribution is to know how long it takes someone to convert. If it is within 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, etc. And then bidding abilities. And now's the time, now is the money time. You should be bidding on value. So anything that has to do with return on ad spend and CPA. When considering your media mix, ask your marketing director if you can bid on ROA or CPA. Those will be the two factors that will be driving revenue in Q4. Going into the next slide, still on the media side of things. So now that you had these discussions and you kind of have a good understanding of where you want to spend your money, split your budget between couple platforms if you can, if you have enough budget. Here's what we typically see. Top of funnel marketing, in other words, acquisition marketing, is great when you use social channels. You do need to be thinking what your demo is, what your persona is, and where she is, whether you should be investing in Meta, in TikTok, Pinterest, any of these social channels. It works great with a component of programmatic advertisement, whether it's native, display ads, pre-roll video, a segmentation of these products plus social channels. The two of them will have a very strong prospecting campaign. We've seen it over time during Q4. Middle of funnel is great if you have some sort of a SEM going on between Google, maybe Bing, shopping, text ads, with some social campaigns as well. And then bottom of funnel, we would recommend having all of them, just using different products within each platform. So SEM bottom of funnel will be shopping ads, social will be dynamic product ads, and then programmatic will be display banner ads or social display. Talking about, who you should be targeting, right? So we talked a little bit about your media mix. We talked a little bit about how you should allocate your budget between top, middle, and bottom. Mapping out your audience, just like you did with your product mix when understanding profit and margins. So tier 1 will be your best, highest growth potential audience. Normally those folks are in the market for a product you sell, that not necessarily looking for your brand, but they are in the market for the solution you provide. And then tier 2 and 3 could be different personas that are close to being in the market for looking for that solution, or audiences you would like to discover. So tier 1, 2, and 3, those will be the frames you should be thinking of when you're mapping up your audience. And then when you go and you actually try to target these folks, and I'm going to have you go up 2 slides if you can. Perfect. Yep. If you can move to the next one. When you are thinking about persona, this is how we would like you to frame it, right? So is your business visual e-commerce? Perhaps Meta, Snapchat, pre-roll video will be great to go in after your tier 1 and even tier 2 and 3 personas. Heavy on content, you need to educate your clients. They probably didn't hear about your products. Native ads is the key to have that educational component in your marketing during Q4 and Q1 next year, as well as meta ads. The combination of native ads and meta ads are very successful when you have an educational product. And then if you do have a business and the business have high search intent, i.e. people already looking for your product, using the next products such as you're seeing this Google, Bing, Meta, and display, all 4 of them will be key in success and low CPA numbers during the holiday season. So wrapping up, key consideration that you should be thinking of. Dawn, I'm going to have you move 1 slide. Thank you so much. Feed-based advertising and CPM costs, right? So you have your budget, you have your personas, You pretty much know how your funnel should be looking like, what products you should be considering. Now is the time to think about how you should be going after these people. And if your budget isn't finite, those are the two things you should consider. Is your platform offers feed-based bidding, feed-based ads? If it is, great, use it. It is key for you to be there with feed ads that present your price, because people will be looking for prices this holiday season. The number two you should consider is the CPM costs of every platform. Not all platforms are the same. What we normally tend to see is on the programmatic side of things, even during Q4, CPM costs are pretty low. We're talking about anywhere between $7 to $10, the highest we see, while in Meta, CPM costs tend to be a little bit higher, more on the $40 to $70 per CPM. Cost per 1,000 impressions, i.e. how many eyeballs will be looking at your products. Meta and Google tend to be click-based, while programmatic tends to be view-based platforms. Those are, again, key consideration for you to consider when you are thinking where and how to spend your media budget. Finally, kind of to sum up, I have two summary slides for you folks. So you know your budget, you know your platforms, you understand your messaging. Now you are, your strategy should be revolving around organic and paid, right? Platforms. On the organic side, make sure that, just like mentioned before, rewards are shown to existing clients. Very, very important. Incentivize your first-party data by discounts, free shipping, limited stock, gifts that you might offer. If you don't have a robust first-party data, the other thing you should be doing is going after them with paid media. Again, same messaging, same everything. You just want to be paying for those new and existing users to incentivize them and visit your site. And then a couple things that you should and shouldn't do this holiday season will be, Dawn, I'm gonna, yep, thank you so much. Sudden budget decreases, right? That's a big no-no. Maury mentioned it, I mentioned it a couple of times. So decreasing media budget during Q4 does not necessarily save you money. Important nuances you should consider before decreasing budget should be, is your competition going to spend more than you? If it will, then a lot of your first-party data probably move over, thus allowing some cross-pollination with your competitors, which isn't something you want to do during inflation. Do you have like a supporting robust organic strategy that will allow for same conversions to happen if you're not going to have any media budget going to capture existing and new users during Q4? If you do, then you might be okay decreasing budget, but if you don't, revenue will probably decrease gradually. When economy will be recovering, do you have a long-term plan to ensure that your business is positive without marketing? Throughout the years here at AdTechC, we haven't seen a lot of businesses that are positive without some sort of a marketing channel working for them. So it is something to consider before decreasing any media budget this holiday season. And then finally, the other thing is you want to ask yourself whether you want to forgo the data that you will be acquiring with your media budget this holiday season, right? So it's not only that the conversions and the revenue are after, but also the first-party data that will grow when you acquire new users. And then finally, the creative strategy. The biggest no-no for us that we would like to caution you is the price increase, right? We talked about it, but it is it can move up and down, and just making sure that you are very sensitive towards the audience, your niche, the people you are advertising to. Some of them might be very sensitive to price increase and some of them not. So just making sure that your messaging is on point when you increase your strategy. It was a lot of information, folks. Thank you so much for listening to us. kind of went over the the do's and the don'ts, and coming to the end of this webinar, we're gonna ask you to kind of sit down and think about your short-term and long-term goals. For short-term goals, couple of questions that you should ask yourself: are you trying to acquire new customers in Q4? You should probably increase CPA and ROAS bidding, just like we spoke about before. Do you have a rich first party or pixel data already? Then you should probably bid on mid-funnel events like PDP or add to cart, because they're going to be less expensive. Those are the short-term bidding. What you should be bidding for long-term in the media marketing is making sure that you are staying top of mind. It's so important to have some sort of a top of funnel strategy going on. Those are native ads, pre-roll video ads, CTV ads, and YouTube. If you don't have those in your current media mix, you're good, but we would like you to consider it for Q1 to start harvesting on that first party data that's out there waiting for you to acquire. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Yael, Brent, Murray. Good stuff. Now, we Q&A, we did have a few questions, guys, which is good because that means, people are engaged and they want to know. So I'm just going to read a couple of these questions. Anybody can answer. First one is, what are some digital package solutions that deliver multiple touch points for local and regional advertisers? And then they say, for example, would you recommend a combo of email, social and programmatic, or newspaper.com?
Yeah, that's a really great question. I think we did a really good job showing what those combos might be. So it really depends what type of business. I would say that a visual e-com, a CPG business, it's very important to be on all of the 3 channels: social, SEM, programmatic. If it is more of an educational product, so definitely hone on native ads and then retarget with social marketing, whatever that platform might be. So just thinking about not necessarily the combos of the media packages, but more what type of product do you have and what type of media will be best for you. That will be the better question to ask.
Okay.
And I would like to piggyback on top of that too. I think it's really important to continue testing with your strategy. So what we like to do is apply the Pareto philosophy, which is we're going to take 80% of our budget and we're going to put it towards things that we know that works. And we're going to take 20% of that budget and we're going to continue to test things that we're not sure that work, but data indicates that it might. And the way that digital advertising is constantly working, it's moving. It's always moving. And so if you can take that 20% and find a test that actually works and that fits into that package, you're going to be way ahead of the curve in terms of returning positive ad spend on that test.
Okay, good. I think we have time for one more question. I'm going to shoot this out. Anybody can answer. What actionable items should marketers do today after watching this webinar?
I would task them to really understand where their dollars are going and try to plug any gaps or leaky faucets that may be occurring right now. I think people, especially as marketers, there's always, we love to spend money. There's no amount of money that we won't spend if given the opportunity. And usually it's more than we're allotted. But really understanding, we treat every dollar as if it's 3. That's just a good philosophy to have, especially in small business arenas where we're not overspending. I mean, I've worked at Dell with multi-million-dollar budgets and Under Armour multi-million-dollar budgets. And that's just a different game, it's a different philosophy with bigger brands. With smaller brands, $10 matters, $100 matters. And as long as you're spending it on things that are going to give you a result of some sort, whether it's a positive result or a negative result, if you're able to learn from that and get smarter and more intelligent and more disciplined, as I alluded to earlier, that's going to put you further ahead of the game. But spending without understanding what you're getting in return for that spend is a quick way to bankruptcy. And we've
Wow.
seen it all the time.
Wow.
And I'd
Okay.
like to add in, if we have another minute, and Yael
Yeah.
might also. I've got 4 things. One is, and Yael touched on this, is what's your best bets, right? I mentioned scaling down and whatnot, right? People in a recession won't buy the new car, they'll buy a used car. Those who are going to buy a used car will pay for auto aftermarket repairs. So you have to gauge where you're, as Brent said, things are shifting in digital all the time. Same thing with our consumers and now the marketplace. Where is your best bet? Where are you going to not just, survive, but thrive? And then targeting, geo-targeting, customer targeting, and then eliminating waste. And that's different than targeting.
Mhm.
It's different. You can pick, and I'm not picking on anyone, a TV show that over-indexes for women 50 plus. But if 40% of that audience is still men 18 to 24, right? You're not paying $7 anymore cost per thousand, right? Now you're paying over 14. Or if you want men 18 to 49, right? You're not paying $7 to reach them because of all the waste. You're paying over $40. So what are your best bets? How can you target them geographically and by their actual consumerism? How do you eliminate waste? And then the reliance. And I'm going to give away another answer. Burrell just released what local advertisers said they were going to do. And over 25% of local advertisers said they're going to increase their search and social. 10 to 20% said they're going to increase their streaming, their live events, because those are back, and banner ads. And between 5 and 10% said they were going to cut or reduce their broadcast TV and out-of-home advertising. And between 5 and 10% said they were going to cut their direct mail. And over 10% said they were going to cut their radio. So if you're looking again to hone that strategy, keep in mind where your best customers are and where they're going and how to reach them.
Okay, good. One question quickly from each of you, your top tip. Somebody has a question. What's the best way to blend seasonal messaging with the launch of a new product? And we'll end with that question.
Yeah, so I think there are many ways to go about it. Obviously, it really depends who the person is. Are they launching it to existing customer? Are they launching it to a new customer that never heard of them before? Being very specific with your creative is key. Every season, whether it's Q4 or Q3 during Father's Day or Q2 during Father's Day. So being very specific with your creative, who you're targeting, as Murray said, and Brent kind of talked about wasted spend, which is really important during product launches, whether it is existing or new clients. And then the action folks need to take. Many times we see product launches without CTA buttons, without clear action that folks are expected to take. So clear action from your persona is the way to go about it with every product launch, especially during Q4.
Good. Anybody else or good? Pretty much good stuff, guys. I tell you, we want to thank everybody who took the time to be here to watch this webinar. For more information, reach out to us at addtaxi.com. Have a good day, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you, Brent, Yael, Murray. Y'all are rock stars, really.
Can we do that again?